No deaths.
They need 2 more. Mountain is yelling. I can hear him. He goes down, but they get the kills.
They need 1 more. It's a tie game right now. Then they're gonna
Oh,
run.
Smack goes down.
Here they go.
No way.
Pick Monday.
Welcome to the USL Live podcast for Season 24, Week 2 preview. I'm your host, Romulocks, and this show is a weekly podcast where we revisit the results from the previous week, discuss the upcoming matches, and try and predict the winners and how that will impact the rest of the season. Joining me to discuss all that and more, I am honored to welcome to the broadcast booth my co-host for this evening. First up, we've got Mecca.
Howdy.
I've got Yosh.
Hey.
And we've got Bowen.
What up?
For more information on the Unified Skirmish League, including schedules, rosters, or how you can be a part of this historic league, we ask that you please visit uslzone.com. Guys, let's jump into Week 1 games. These were played on Clyce Ridge. First up was D-Generation X over Suicide Squad, 30-27. Your MVP was Posty.
Yeah, good game. They played close to the chest there. South base, we kind of made it move around. The last few minutes of the game when we had the lead, kind of unorganized for us at the very end because 2 of us lived up by KR, Eric and I. So we were kind of spaced out. But then they chose to push Yosh and R at our base, and the rest of our team escaped J channel. So I know in the commentary you guys talked about 4 corners, and that's kind of what we did because I was at tap, Yosh and R were at our base, and the rest of the team was J channel. So it was a good match. Obviously we were missing some starters. I think they were as well. And playing on Titan KR is always going to be an uphill battle. So we're glad we got away with a win. But I think it was a close match, and I don't think people expected it to be a close match, but I'm not sure why, because playing on Titan, is always a mixed bag on KR. Sometimes you can blow them out, sometimes it's going to be close. So overall, good game though.
Yeah, if you didn't know KR was imbalanced, this weekend showed a lot of it. Right? Being on Titan, you're losing 20 kills easily. Right? I thought Suicide Squad played really well. They played it exactly how we kind of expected them to play. We played honestly pretty bad and sloppy. Right? We got to tighten that up. There were times where we looked kind of bad, disorganized. But I think that's a lot due to the map itself too. Posty did good when he came in. We ran out of ammo on KR on multiple fights. It's just a horrible map to play on. Congrats to Suicide Squad though. They played well.
Well, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, actually, I was going to mention, Jordan, you hanging out in the top left building there for a little while was kind of funny for me. And people in spec talking about
was a rat.
It was great. People in spec talking, I haven't seen this part of the map in 15 years. I was like, I don't think I have either. But yeah, no, it was a great match. It was fun to watch. So, yeah, close.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was more that Suicide Squad played very well or that D-Generation X did not play as well as I predicted. I did think the score was a lot closer than at the end than I thought it was going to be from our projections and just from looking at the rosters. I will say that for Suicide Squad, I don't think it could be understated. The late addition of Apollo to that roster, if Apollo had not been in that game, I think it'd be a different result. I really do. A pretty significantly different result. I think he brought something that they didn't have, some veteran leadership, some vocal ability, and some positional ability that they really needed, and he brought it at just the right time. Shasta also played out of his mind for Suicide Squad this weekend. I thought he was one of the better players overall for the whole weekend. There's a lot of questions I have for this roster in terms of how it gets formed and what it looks like for Suicide Squad. But I think this week was a really good introduction to that. They came out and outperformed. They outkicked their coverage, I think is what I would say for them overall. And it makes me look forward to what Suicide Squad can do for the rest of the season. I think they're going to be the dark horse for the season. I don't know that anybody's going to expect them to do what they're going to do. And they could lose by 40. They could win the game. And any variant in between. I think for D-Generation X, really it is exactly what you guys said. It's amazing to see what the absence of Sav and Iron will do to a squad. The moment that Iron was subbed into this game for Posty, the tides turned immediately. immediately in your guys' favor. It became much more clear who the dominant team were on the field. And he was a big contributing part of that. I think when Sov gets added, it even doubles down on that. I think the Sov and Iron effect cannot be understated for you guys. And I did think you all looked a little bit sloppy. I think you looked a little disorganized and disjointed, and you still came away with a W. So I think that speaks to the strength of your roster. But also, we have a whole lot to that. This is not the G Generation X I think we're going to see for the rest of the season going out from this point. Let's go next to the second game of the night. Cats over Nexus 75-25. Your MVP was Yami Kenichi. And if we can, guys, I want to go ahead and combine this analysis with the Crusaders' defeat over Nexus 67-34. MVP was Oct. Let's talk about both of those games, if you can, and kind of Nexus in general.
Yeah, so I'll start kind of with the Cats versus Nexus. I think you guys did a pretty good job early. Obviously got away with you in the end, but that always happens. So I don't think that's an indictment on you guys at all. I would say that I think Chompy is going to be a great player for you guys. A little over aggressive against a better team, but I don't think he understands that yet. But I think by the end of the season, I think Chompy is going to be insane. I think he's a runaway for Cave Beast already. I know some people say Yami too because Yami played well in that first game, but I think Chompy's going to have a huge impact on Nexus. I would not be shocked at all if at the end of the season, Chompy is leading kills for Nexus. I want to shout out Stoink too. I think Stoink played pretty well. Yeah, it was the Cats game. It was just some positioning stuff. I don't know what it is, but like sometimes you guys and we talked about this last season too. It's even within teams of 4, 2 are falling, 2 are pushing. I don't know what it is. It's just the chemistry is still not really there. Maybe I know you guys didn't really SB in the off season, so that certainly doesn't help. I think the more active you guys will get, the more tight it'll become, and I think it'll be a little bit better long term. I think if you were to play Crusaders to get into that map a little bit, if you were to play the Crusaders not on KR without back sniping, I think you guys have a better chance. I know he only had 9 kills, but I mean he was hitting everybody a lot. And then Ock played a really good Ripper game. KR is a really good Ripper map too. Unfortunately, your rematch against Crusaders is on KR as well. So I don't know what changes there, but because that is just sniper and Ripper heaven on that. So the one thing I would say is you need to send a solo, whether it be Fausto or Bowen or Draco. Somebody needs to keep the sniper and Ripper in check. You need to always have a solo flank to come up behind backs or come up behind Ock. Just so they can't because right now they're just sitting still in the back and spamming you guys down. There's nothing you could do about it, and it's just so much damage. So I would say definitely try to run a solo at that. And then overall, I think as the season goes on, you guys should be a little bit better as the chemistry builds up. Once you figure out how to use Chompy, Yosh and I were saying in the commentary, just throw Chompy center and Stoink or something on a flank and just let them go. And I think that they'll be able to at least take 1 kill off the other flank team or make some things happen more often than not. So that would be my advice for the leading. But overall, I think you guys played okay. I mean, you guys didn't lose by 100 like you were last season, so that's already an improvement. Only losing by 30, and what did you lose the Cats by 50, which is not bad. It was closer early on. So overall, I think you guys played okay. As far as Cats goes, Legacy had an outstanding game, and then on Crusaders, like I said, Bax and kind of showed up.
Yeah, so Mecca hit it right on the head. We were saying that there's no solo flanking. You're playing 8s. 8s is not 7s. 7s you ball up and stay as a group pretty much, which is what y'all did a lot. 8 you need at least one guy roaming around flank. Yeah, I think we did say it on the commentary. I would put Stoink, Chompy, and Rom together and just have them go do God's work. As long as Rom keeps those 2 guys in check, far as positioning and where to fight and where to engage on, they would do fine. Other than that, yeah, it sucked they played Crusaders week 1. I think this is a better team, Nexus, than, kind of what they showed. I think as the season goes on, hopefully they get more chemistry together. Good seeing Draco back. I like seeing that. Old school player, very, very good. Obviously, Chompy's going to try and star on this team. I have a little bit of questions on like lineups. I know at the beginning, I think Bowen was even going to sit Chompy, as ridiculous as that sounds. I think Mites ended up leaving their squad because he didn't play a game, the first game that they had. Now, I kind of understand that, but also when you have a new player, I think even if you're going to get blown out, you got to integrate that. Uh, Hopefully Plaps gets some games in. I know he used to be or he is a CTF engineer that was really, really good. That's pretty much all I know on him. I don't know who ATR is. So hopefully these guys do better. Um, they played Cats pretty well for like 10, 15 minutes, and then the wheels fall off. I don't understand why that happens, but it always does.
Yeah, so I mean, so the I'll say this: the great Chompy thing where I almost sat up at the beginning, that was actually a mistake on my part. I just wasn't counting, and I had the whole brain thing going. But I looked at my, I was like, "Oh crap, Chompy's not in. I need to get him in." I was like, "Who do I sit? Mites, I'll get you in at 15." And he left. So,
And that was the
You guys are
exact
better off.
discussion. The plan was to play in the Cats
Yeah.
game every single player on our roster that was present. And
Yep.
we even said it out loud. And and Bowen said, "I'm sorry, I got to get Chompy in first here. Mites will play you at the 15." And Mites took off and left the squad. I don't know what more. You can't be more transparent with him than that this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and
You
that's
guys are better off, honestly. I know we want to integrate
Right.
CTF, but Mites is a nutcase. So
right. And I've said it in squad chat, and I'll say this to people who are new: like, uh, understand that if you're not playing right away, don't take it personally. On any squad that you're on, they're people are your captains are putting in who they give you the best chance. They will get you play time. And if you want to show them that you're better than what's showing up on the lineup, then show them that. But you got to show up in SB for that. You got to show up and give. So uh, leave it at that for that point. But yeah, anyway, back to the match side of that. I think Chompy is going to be an absolute monster this season if we can get him kind of toned in on how SK works, and he's not going to be able to rep away grenades and stuff. I think Chompy is going to be fantastic. He's already an absolute monster. I think Stoink, if we can get active, will be crazy good. Draco, there's a lot of guys in this roster that can go off. I just need to work with it a little better, and getting us that practice is what will help. As far as the match with Crusaders, I mean, it was a lot of panic with Sniper and Ripper, especially new guys who'd never played against it, and people who are just generally just not a fan of the class, just maybe not know the ideas of dodging it as well. It was just a lot of learning experience, I think, for that. But yeah, they fell into a lot of Ripper shots. They fell into a snipe. You're running it straight forward, do that, but that's the way it works. We'll figure it out.
I concur with that, and I agree with what Mecca was saying earlier. I think Mecca, you hit the nail on the head for a lot of this stuff. In the Cats game, we knew what that was probably going to be, but at the same time, we just wanted to show out, and get some guys some playing time, and work on some fundamentals because we haven't had a lot of scrimmages and a lot of squad battles. So we kind of use that Cats game as a good way to just work some stuff out. And I thought it worked out the first game better than maybe even the second game. I thought we had some upward trajectory that was looking pretty good. The first 5 to 10 minutes were okay, kind of rough, and then I thought we were getting better. Um, then the Crusaders game happened, and it kind of regressed a little bit. I think we've identified some of the problems from that game. We're working those things out. But there are a lot of guys that are shaking off rust, like you mentioned. Draco is going to be fantastic. He's such a veteran, old NML player, and I'm happy he's back. Yeah, Chompy, as we've harped on, he is something special to watch, and I think all of us realize that he's an exceptional player right out of the gate. Fausto, I mean, coming back and doing the leading really helps. We'll see how active he is, as everybody has mentioned. Stoink was doing very well too. Yeah, I think we have some other areas to figure out. How deep we are on the bench. I will say ATR is against the rest. He's a super old skirmish veteran. He played with me, 2002. We've been playing for forever, and so he just came back and immediately jumped in and was playing pretty well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Honestly, I think he fell asleep this weekend is the only reason he went at the games. So I mean, I think we'll do better. particularly than we did at the end of last season, which was just so discouraging to not just to watch, to be a part of, because we just weren't. Nothing was clicking, and we were all going at a different pace. This group of guys that we got right now, I definitely think has the capability of do it. I think we're greener than the team that we're less veteran than the team was last season, but that may work to our benefit. I don't know. I think that if we can get some scrimmages in, that'll be the deciding factor right there in terms of how successful our season can be. Can we play together regularly? And we'll just have to see. So, let's see here. Going to our next games, let's talk about New World Order versus over Cats. 51-33. Your MVP in that was Samara, aka Danny.
Yeah, I want to start out with Yosh's theorem that Kali is worth 20 kills. I think you saw it in this game. I mean, New World Order won by 18, right? So I think that it was really prevalent having Kali being able to play wherever you want in the South and making the other team push you, especially when you win that first battle. It really showed out here through because you saw Cats do pretty well against Nexus and then turn around and kind of struggle versus them. I mean, the only person who played well statistically was Legacy. Everybody else was under, and I think that I announced this game and I held off my prediction because I wanted to see what the full 8 for both team was. So when you have Yami in, who's still inexperienced, and Bonds, who's rusty as hell, I think Bonds is going to end up being a very good medic for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if he makes my top 5 medic at the end of the year. But right now, it's his first USL game in a long time. And then Yami went 1-9. And then the opposite, you have Ninja show up, who goes 10-4, hard to kill, gets the angles, had a couple good laws. That's why before the game I predicted New World Order was going to actually take this, and I think that's exactly why you just see. I think Ninja was MVP. I know Danny ended up getting it, but I think Ninja did way more than Danny in this game. I'm not to say Danny played bad because I think Danny played very well, but Ninja was always on that solo. He had a couple laws. I think he killed Yami 3 or 4 times, which doesn't seem big, but when it's an 8 versus 8 and you're getting the open kill, 4 or 5 times in a row, that's huge. And then NWO can just push because even though Cats still has a solid 7 behind that, they don't have as good of a roster as they had last year. No Kaga, his soul going back to no showing. So I think that's why you see this. I think when this is reversed in a couple weeks, when Cats has Kali, I think this game will be a lot closer. Especially if you get Soul in there for Yami, I think it's going to be a lot closer. And I would probably give the edge to the Cats in that fight. Now on a neutral map, I think NWO might be able to edge it out if it's this 8 versus 8, but ideal lineup versus ideal lineup, I think I'd give Cats still the slight edge. But New World Order is very good, and it wouldn't surprise me if they beat anybody this season.
Yeah, Kali being worth 20 kills is exactly what this game was decided on. Sammy coming out, stunting out, looked fucking amazing. Didn't show any rust at all, and really took advantage of Yami's inexperience, like Mecca was saying. I think it's been called about me in the past, but he had a real Jekyll and Hyde performance. He played very well in one game, and then this game you could just see the inexperience. He was dead every fight. A little bit rough to watch on that because we were building him up so much, and then just a very bad performance on him.
You're saying you
I
feel
think-
personally responsible. That's what you're saying.
Not personally responsible, but
No, it's your personal responsibility. It's your fault.
Yeah, you definitely did it.
All right, well, whatever. I'll take it. For NWO, I thought Septicemia played very good as medic. That's something that we didn't see coming. He played really, really well. Like I didn't notice too many times he was out of position. He looked very comfortable in the class, which is a shock because I don't think I've ever seen him med. So that was a pretty big gamble on Hester's part. Maybe he had that in his back pocket and knew, but he just kind of showed up and played him as a med. And that was cool to see. Splitter did fine this game. I thought, he did his thing. I think when this is reversed and Cats plays New World Order, I think Cats wins by 20 just by having Kali. That's how busted this map is. Other than that, I think it was a very good match from New World Order. They almost threw it at the end a little bit to Cats, but I think there's a little bit of indecisiveness towards the end of the fights. But other than that, looked good. Look, Ninja showing up. Leak played awesome as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I do think, as mentioned by Mecca and Yosh, that when this map flips, it'll be 20 kills the other direction, right? So I mean, we've said it over and over again this offseason. KR is very unbalanced. It just is what it is. It's a coin flip. That's why I'm glad we're playing on it twice in a way, because it's, it gives the other team the opportunity to kind of get the comeback kill on that. But as stated, I mean, Danny Ninja, all these guys had great games. Legacy went nuts. Aerith had some great shots too, some good battle openers. He shot Kevin against a rock with a law one time, and Kevin saw it coming and actually did the power law emo right before it hit him. Like, he was just like, "Yep, nope, I got this." So, fun match. Again, when it flips, we'll see what happens. But yeah,
I don't disagree. I mean, I hate to be boring, but Mecca, I think, said it really well in the beginning. New World Order showed out. I think they did very, very well. They showed what they're fully capable of. And I really don't have any major criticisms for a single player on their team. I like the medic staff. I like the Marines. I like the way they played the game. I liked how they played together. I like the team shooting. There's a lot to compliment here. There were a few deaths by Leak, I guess, that made me scratch my head. But Leak played well overall. He was positive on the game, so I'm not sure what I criticize here, because the formula worked in the end. It may be because it's KR, like you guys are saying, but I don't know. I thought New World Order looked completely in control in every battle for the most part. There were a couple that they lost. They still looked, I thought, pretty good in. Ninja did play just out of his mind. It's just what he's capable of. Everybody knows it. It's almost a damn shame that we don't get to see what that next gear is for him sometimes. Danny did come alive. Danny's a finisher, and I really like that about him. He is the guy to get that last bullet. He wasn't necessarily doing all that damage, but he was the one finishing, and finishing is a vital part of the game as well. Letting them get away and get behind that rock and get a heal is awful. So you definitely want to take advantage and knock the guys out that you get below 20 HP. On the other side, a lot to say about Cats. They were, we kind of wonder, would it be like Warhawks or would it be different without Kaga? I think the answer here is it's different without Kaga. No question. Kaga was a force to be reckoned with last season. And without him and without Gift, which is maybe the other side of that coin, right now, this team looks a little lackluster from what I want to see. But not to say that there's still some amazing players on that roster. Tactical in particular, 5 and 6 in the game against New World Order. He's going to play better than that in a lot of the games this season, and he played pretty well. He wasn't noticeably bad at all. Legacy played outstanding though, and I think he showed that he has a 6th gear as a player. He's an outstanding Marine. And even amongst a game of good players, Legacy was really good. Staley also, I thought, played well the whole day as a Ripper. But he had a few moments in here that, I'm not sure if he could have changed the situation, but he was a little slow to adapt. The only questions you have are really on the bottom end. It's Yami. I didn't think there was really anything wrong with the medics either. I think it's mostly Yami and the positioning. And I have to wonder if Yami hadn't gone down, would the score look like this? I don't know. And I don't blame Yami for that. He's a new player. Positioning is tough to get, but at the same time, some of his deaths were pretty crucial. And it's a learning experience going forward for Yami. We've seen so much positive from him. I don't want him to be discouraged. I want him to take this as a learning experience moving forward. The kid's got a lot of talent. But maybe slow up just a pace and make sure that you're in line with your teammates, because quite a few times you were 3, 4, 5 paces ahead of your team and just a couple of steps back and you would have been fine. Any final comments about that game, guys?
Good job, Pister.
Good job, Pister. Yeah.
The one thing I would say is that Ernie's leading now, so now he has to deal with the age-old
the leader's curse.
The leader's curse. Yeah, I was looking
drop
for a
at
word, but that's true.
20%.
Like, Yeah, your skill goes down. I think you saw it with DX2 with Eric, Yosh, and I basically all leading together, essentially, sort of. Um, a third of our power combined was reduced, so that happens, and it sucks too because you can't fall on Kaga and Legacy, and TG's not around. So your best Marine is now leading. It's going to affect the game long term.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the last match of the week, which Suicide Squad over Crusaders, 43-41. Your MVP in that game was Apollo. What a game this was!
Yeah, this game was pretty crazy. I think that I do agree about Apollo being pretty important to this game. He just brings veteran leadership and having his boys with him. Flash and Fresh, even though Flash had a not so great weekend after criticizing Rom, which I think was instant karma. Uh, uh, I'm surprised that Crusaders got this far. I don't think Crusaders is a bad team, but when you have people like Caligstar and Smackrock who are playing their first USL games in how many years, I don't even know, and then Metal playing non-medic in the game in USL for how long, uh, that I think it again shows how strong Kali is on KR. Because I mean, if Suicide Squad has Kali in this game, is this game within 25 kills? Probably not, honestly. But Bax played even more campy than anybody has. Suicide Squad or NWO, they were like literally on the left side of the garage for that last fight and still lost, which I think is a little bit funny. It's kind of the come up inside. But I think Shasta had a really nice game. I think everybody else played okay. Nice to see Mugen in there. Mugen only died 2 times as medic. I saw him miss a few heals, but that's going to happen. He's new to SK. He's a pretty good player in CTF, so I think he'll just get better. I think he's probably like a B tier in CTF, so I think he could get that tier in SK. So I was a little surprised the score was close. I think Oct had another really good game till the end. I think somebody mentioned it in commentary too. Oct was just playing very strange at the end of this game. After having that south angle and holding those angles all game, he just ends up in the middle of the garage, kind of shooting a rock, and then they lost the game. So I think he had a huge game, 17-4. Bax goes 6-4, which you need better from that. But I think this is up. I think this is a good thing for Crusaders when you have Caligstar and Metal going 4-7 apiece. It's not going 2-8, and you only lose by 2 kills. I think that's great. But shout out to Suicide Squad for winning at the end with the clutch gene.
Yeah, this match was the most entertaining of the week. I actually called Crusaders to win this game, and I thought they had it just by having Kali. I thought the cushion was going to be too much. Kaga not showing was huge. Apparently, he was at a buffet. But interesting to note, as soon as the game was over, look who showed up in pub. Not even a second after the game was over. Boom, Kaga was right there in pub. So, I don't know.
Do you think Kaga's just pulling the long con here?
I mean, he might be pulling an ESO.
He's pulling
He was,
season 23 ESO?
yeah, he might have been in spec, just
Or was that
sitting
season
there
22? I don't remember.
laughing and giggling
You
to
mean week
himself.
1 ESO? He was in spec for our game.
It's good to see Calig and Smack coming back. Like to see those guys. Big old school guys. Love to see that. People coming back and having a good time. Oct, who, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed to play this weekend, was absolutely carrying that team for 25 minutes. That last 5 minutes, he fell off the face of the cliff and looked lost and dizzy. Had no idea what to do. As much as he was winning that game for them, he lost that game for them at the end. Bax was doing his job. He was hitting some snipes. Wasn't putting up the kills, but he was actually doing the damage that he needed. Towards that final 5 minutes, I'd say he missed a little bit. But other than that, he was keeping them in this game. I think if Kaga shows up, they win this game. For Suicide Squad, Shasta played good, I thought. The Mountain played really well as well. You know, from going on the reverse side of it, from never leaving their DS on versus us to having to go hunt Crusaders. It's very interesting to see how different leaders tackle that problem, right? Because on one side they were They were the ones camping and holding their base, and now the other side they had to actually go push, and narrowly came out with a victory in this game. There was probably a couple laws or nades that if they go a different direction, this game ends up losing for Suicide Squad. Adding Apollo and his little group of guys, huge. Before the game, I think I called it. If they didn't add some Marines, this team was in a lot of trouble. I think Apollo adds that stability that you need in this team, and he should be able to shine here and be able to do great things.
Yeah, I don't have much to add from that match standpoint, so I'm actually going to bring out admin Bowen for a second. So a couple
Boo.
things, yeah, I know, right? A couple things happened during this match that I kind of need to. First off, one thing that's going to have to be just kind of a PSA is right before the match started, there was issues with some people coming into the arena and spamming banners, throwing banners at people, kind of randomly doing shit like that. If that's an old school troll, if it starts up, we do have the ability to remove banner privileges from people, and we will just start silencing people. Like, we're not going to play this whole game of trolling people by sending them banners during a game. That's it's fucking childish. Just don't do it. We're just gonna ban you and silence you and all of those shit. This goes to the CTFers that come in and start spamming OVD in arena. Like, stop it. We've pushed CTFDL. We expect some respect in return. So going to that, now the conversation of Oct. This happened actually right before the game started. It was actually during my game with Cat. Game dev actually came to me saying that Oct was requesting it. Thought about it for a while and really wasn't sure. But then it was just like I haven't banned him from the league, but he is banned from the game. And so yes, I did a temporary. The request was for a temporary unban. He would be on his P's and Q's. He would be watched very closely by myself and the game dev and other mods and USL staff. He behaved himself. Was cooperative. He let his ban go back on immediately after, stayed for it, didn't have to fight him for it. And he reached out to me after and was appreciative and even was very respectful. So, you know, should have Octave played? I don't know. But I had very limited time to make a decision. And without much time to ask for other opinions or other mods, it was just kind of yeah. I mean, if I don't let him play, he's playing my squad and it could be seen as abuse of power.
Can we just clarify here? What is his offense? What was he banned for?
Oct has made life a living hell for staff members of USL, staff members of the game. He's been flagged for racism. He's been kicked from the regular infantry Discord. He has done numerous things that has just made life a really obnoxious and too much.
So,
And I
like
think
a
it's gotten
series
to
of petty offenses, or was there like a straw that broke the
yeah,
camel's
kind of a
back?
series of petty offenses. And honestly, I think the straw that brought the camel back, I think, was the racist joke that started up like weeks and weeks
Okay.
ago, and it has built from there. And I don't know if it was that or if it was something else that happened, but at some point, the head mod MP has just had enough.
Yeah, I get it.
And yeah, and he's even to the point now where he's logging into aliases that says "ban me" if you're a homophobic term, and he gets banned. Like, he's banned for a week. That's what got him to ban this last time. So I don't have compassion for it, but also it's like I have compassion for the squad in the fact that they're having to play man down a man, and it's their best player. Like, he showed he's their best player. So I don't know. It's it is what it is, but that's kind of the decision I had to make.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think
Yosh.
it's the wrong call.
That's fair. And
His
honestly,
ass was banned in game. He
Right.
need to be banned in league. Like, there should be a correlation here. If you want to be a fucking just general shithousery and get banned, you should not be allowed to play. Why? This reinforces the fact that, you know what, I could be a douchebag 6 days of the week, but I get to play Sunday, and that's the only day that really matters. I could be a dick 6 other days, but if they let me play Sunday, I'm okay with this. Yeah, I could shut up for an hour, right? We're good on that. Anyone could do that. In my opinion, if you're banned from the game, you should be banned from the league. This just makes sense to me. I don't
And,
know. Maybe I'm the only one that fucking thinks like
You're
that.
not.
Maybe
You're
I'm
not.
wrong.
It's a fair assessment, right? And it's not even that it's wrong. Like I completely I can see that side of it. I can also see the side of it where it's just like I don't want to punish his squad because he
Fuck
has this
that.
problem with authority.
Here's the reason why. Bax recruited him knowing who he was. I used the same defense for Bax when he was on Pistol Squad when y'all wanted to ban him for that. And I said no. He didn't do anything wrong. You recruit the players who you know who they are. He knew that Ock was probably going to get banned. Hell, they make jokes about it on the other Discord. He's like, yeah, probably half my team's going to get banned. At least I'm going to get banned and Ock's going to get banned. They know this stuff is coming. And by you letting him play reinforces the fact that, you know what? I can just be a douchebag and make, not cool names, be generally just a shit person in game and get away with it.
But then again, Yosh, we have to acknowledge, and I'm not trying to excuse racism or general shithousery, but Infantry is a different kind of community. Like, it is a remnant of 1999 through 2001. There's a lot
Are
of
we a
attitudes.
1999 ROM?
I agree, but I'm saying we generally have a higher tolerance for shithousery than I think most communities do. And what I view, and I actually don't disagree with you at all, Yosh. I am more for shorter sanctions, just like the criminal court system that I practice in. Like I am more for
That's a whole other
shorter
issue.
sanctions that are stricter. I want a defined amount of penalty, and if you're gonna say, dude, your behavior is so bad that you should not be playing this game, I kind of agree. I think it's like a 7-day ban, you're done, and that means Sunday. I'm sorry, Sunday's it. And maybe that needed to happen. Although I will say, from a purely selfish perspective, then we would have missed these performances. And my God, did Ott go off? Low tier God here is what happened.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Yeah, Bax and Ock, they're good players. But their attitude holds them back. I know for me personally, I wouldn't recruit Octavian. Never know what he's gonna do.
Well, let's just go forward from this conversation and just
Fair.
I think
Wrong call, Bowen.
I think it's very fair to put both Bax and Oct on notice. The league has had enough shenanigans. Enough. Enough is enough. Like, we don't want disruptions to the game. We're focused on the game. If you're not focused on the game and you're just going to be an annoying fill in the blank, you can do it on a ban. Enjoy yourself. And yeah, I think that's how we move forward. I would like both of them to be playing, though. Let me be clear about that.
Yeah, 100%. But here's the thing. I'm okay with, trolling and everything like that, but when you go over the line and start doing racist stuff,
Right.
no, that's not acceptable.
No, it's not
at
funny.
any point. It's not funny, right? When you're making names of, ban me if you're gay or da-da-da or any of that kinds of stuff or getting personal with stuff, no, that's not cool. If you want to do stuff in game, you want to call people because they suck in game, sure, I'm all about that. I've always been about that.
Trash
Right,
talking
but when you
accepted.
cross,
Yeah.
like that keeps our league alive, to be honest. So that's not what I'm saying. It's just when you go over that line, and I think most of us should be around 30. You should know where that line is.
Yeah. No need to get super personal either. Like, there's just no need for it.
Yeah, or we're trying to
Right.
break rules and everything like that. Like, it's not cool. Maybe Ock learns from this and turns a new leaf and is like, yo, maybe I need to kind of chill out a little bit and, just relax, play the game and have fun. Talk trash and everything like that, but not go over that line. If that's what he learned from this experience, then cool. But I don't think he did. I think he's just an habitual line stepper. Same with backs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
they just keep going until you stop them.
Well,
That's just what they do.
We will let our league admin and his admin staff decide how that gets handled in the future. Pluses or minuses. I think Bax and Ock should be warned from here on out, and let them. The admins will do with you what they will. But to put a bow on that Crusader Suicide Squad game was dope. Am I right?
It was good.
Let's talk about week 2 games here. 8:45, Cats versus Suicide Squad. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Anybody who wants to talk about it, what we think it's going to happen.
I'm going to predict if Soul doesn't show, Suicide Squad wins this one.
Wow. Why?
I think if Soul doesn't show, you have to play Yami again. Although maybe not, because Head could show for this since it's an earlier game. So if Head shows instead of Yami, it's going to be close. But I think Suicide Squad might win this because I think Suicide Squad's going to play this kind of slow. Even though this is Cat's map, I think that you'll see Suicide Squad doing some more creative stuff south. And I think they're probably going to take this. I think Sabo goes Ripper on this map, and I think it kind of tears them apart.
Okay.
It's interesting thoughts. I was just going to bring up that I think this is Cat's map. I think Tactical is definitely at home on this. If Soul shows, I think, like you're saying, I think it is a Cat's victory for sure. But even if Soul's not there, I still think it kind of leans Cats. I could see Suicide Squad picking it up, and that's the exciting part. There's a question about what is the game of the match of the week for week 2. This one's definitely in contention because if Suicide Squad wins this game, that turns this season upside down quite a bit. Yeah, I'd be excited to see a result like that, but I definitely think Cats are going to have it in the bag. Anybody else? Any points here?
Yeah.
Okay. Next game is Nexus versus Degeneration X. Does anyone want to argue that Nexus is going to take this?
We can probably move on
Yeah.
from that one.
Okay. Degeneration X. Let's. Good luck to you guys for the rest of the season. New World Order versus Nexus. Kind of the same.
We can probably move on.
Yeah, probably move.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to the rest of the season there, New World Order. Crusaders versus New World Order. I kind of think this is going to be a strong one on the NWO side, but I mean, Crusaders could put up a really strong push here. This is a good test for week 2 to see if week 1 was a fluke and if it was just a KR side, or if they actually, if they're about it.
I think New World Order takes this. I think that on a non-sniper Ripper map, although you could argue you can snipe or rip on KSN, I just don't think it's as effective. I think that Baxwell LMG, which I think he's a decent LMG, I just don't think he has as much of an impact as a game as when he's sniping. And then same with Oct. I think he gave you his 2 good games of the season. I don't think he probably ever plays that well again. I think those are probably his 2 best USL games ever. So I don't know if you can expect that week to week. And I think NWO, Ninja did show, so they look strong, but also, they didn't have Havoc, they didn't have Hop, Caved just joined, and he can unrust. I don't think Pearlheart played, so even if Ninja doesn't show, you supplant them with any of those guys, and I think you don't lose much. So I think New World Order takes this one.
I think the matches this week are going to be fun just because it's on a better map. KS10 is relatively balanced on either side.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to really see what both rosters are capable of. Kaga not showing for Crusaders is huge. I know he screwed me in fantasy. Real upset about that, actually. Without him showing up, they lack a little bit of firepower on this team that they would have had if he does show. With that, I think Bax plays LMG, and I don't think they look very good. I think he's more effective on a sniper, but you're not going to snipe on this map. It's horrible.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's interesting. I just noticed that Nexus and Crusaders both have double headers against New World Order and Degeneration X this week. It is a rough week for those for Crusaders and Nexus on both sides. that is rough. So the final match of the week will be Degeneration X versus Crusaders. I assume everybody's in the same kind of category. I think Degeneration X looks like they're going to take this, but again, Crusaders with a big opportunity here to put themselves in the top of the table if they can take either one of these games, honestly.
Yeah, I think you'll see Eric, if Bax does decide to snipe, you'll see Eric AT hunting Bax all game. So he can't get any snipes off. So I would suggest Bax does not snipe, because I don't think it's going to be pretty for him if he does.
Anybody else? Any thoughts there?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we also had a discussion in the Discord this week, and as a result of that discussion, particularly prompted by Kaga, I have decided to do a USL Live top 5 this season. I'm going to announce the top 5 on Sunday night. I'm going to try to maybe Monday each week. It's just my own opinion personally on where I think who I think showed out for that week. For this week, I want to go number 1 for the USL Live top 5 is Oct. What an incredible week for that young man. Number 2 is Legacy. Number 3 is Ninja. Number 4 is Samara. Number 5 is Apollo. Honorable mentions would go to Shasta McNasta, aka DMX, and Brett the Hitman Hart, also known as Universal Soldier 2K. If you're interested in how I came to those decisions, check out uslzone.com. And congratulations to all those guys on some incredible performances from week 1. Guys, are we ready to go to the mailbag?
Yeah.
Let's go to the mailbag.
Ooh.
All right. So this first question is from me. I'm going to do a little rapid fire questions with you guys. I'm not going to answer these. What I do want you three to say is I am going to give you guys a group of players, and I want you to tell me as of this moment between week 1 and week 2, after having seen the results from week 1, who would you select to play? And if you want to make a brief why, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. For the medic positions on NWO, Brillhart, Havoc, Abath, and Sun, aka Septicemia. Who are you playing and why?
Oof. I think Sun and Abath. My why is I think Burrow probably fits better in as a Marine. I thought that he might med this season before they picked up Sun and Abath, but you also have Cave in the background. I know you didn't ask about them, but I would say, yeah, Sun and Abath.
I think versus stronger teams, you're going to want experienced medics. So you'd probably go Havoc. I think Sun played really well, so he deserves that opportunity. Versus teams that aren't as talented, I think you can just play anybody who wants to play.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to choose between Havoc and Sun for me, but I'm gonna say, judging by how he played this past weekend, I'm gonna say Sun and Abath.
Sun and Abath we did very well. I don't want to take anything away from Sun. I think he would be a very fine third. I think Havoc is outrageous at medic, though, especially if he played like he did in season 23 and particularly the end of season 22. I think that Havoc is probably my pick for your top med on this team. Abath, though, looks so good, putting up huge numbers, and I personally love his positioning. I think he's one of the best medics in the league right now, just from what I've seen. It's surprising to me that he's just come out of nowhere in terms of returning back to the game or whatever. But I think he's going to be very good this season. I would probably run Havoc and Abath, but Sun would be a very fine third for me. And I said I wasn't going to answer these questions. I'm still answering them. For the 5th and 6th Marine spots on Nexus, would you go with Enemy, ATR, MTR3, or Maniac, aka Stoink?
Oh, easy question. It's
You can go
MT.
first, Yosh.
Yeah, it's MTR3 and Stoink. That's easy. I think MTR3 has been underutilized for seasons. He hasn't really had his time to shine, especially with Nader coming up. KS10, the buff. MTR3 can put in some work if he gets to practice mortar and pub, which they've not allowed us to do, which makes me sad. Bring back fun, Bowen. I hold you personally responsible.
Yo.
Yeah. No.
Uh,
Yeah. And you can't bench Stoink. He was your best performing player, or one of them.
I see. I disagree. I think MTR3 is the worst player on Nexus.
Ooh.
As
Worse
a
than DP?
nader, I would play DP over him any day.
Wow.
If you watch MTR strafe, it looks like he's playing on a joypad. He does like circle strafes. It's like infinite level alt strafing. It's so weird. As nader, he's okay on a nader map, but I wouldn't put him in as Marine. Possibly a medic, but that's not the question. So I would say ATR because I think ATR gets better throughout the season. I think the more you play him early, the more confident he gets. I think his ceiling is just higher, and then Stoink because I think Stoink has a pretty high ceiling for you guys.
I mean, yeah, Stoink and ATR are kind of my thought too. MTR is fine, especially I think on Mater he actually knows how to do a mortar good. My English is great. He does mortars very well.
He gets
but
double kills a
Mortar
lot.
Good, got it.
Yeah, mortar good. He's great. No, but I
like
do think he struggles with the standard like stand and shoot shots a little bit on Nader. I saw that in some of the SPs last week. So if he straightens those up, then sure. But yeah, I'm kind of on Stargate too.
Let's say for the medic team on Suicide Squad, You have Flash, Victim, Mugen, Fresh, and Thiz. What 2 you playing?
Can you repeat those again?
Flash, Victim, Mugen, Fresh, and Thiz.
Victim, I think, is the clear number 1 there. I think Fresh played pretty bad. I would put Flashback as medic. I think his Marine was not good this weekend. I think it was a huge weak spot for them. So I would go Flash and Victim.
Yosh, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Victim, and then I think he play Iceman. I think he's been doing well. So that's tough. Mister has, a lot of capable players that are right at the same tier. It's interesting to see who he chooses week to week.
Bowen, any thoughts?
Victim and Flash, yeah, same thing.
Okay. For the 5th and 6th Marine spots on Degeneration X, you have Typhoon, Colossal, Yosh, or Iron.
Oh. This is a tough question. I'll let Yosh answer first if he wants to.
I mean,
Exclude
We
yourself,
have-
Yosh, or take yourself. Which
no,
one are
I'm
you going to
taking
do?
myself off.
Okay.
I mean, but here's the problem, though. What people don't know is we're gonna have multiple people out for weeks, right?
That's what he says to
So-
justify it. I understand.
I mean, that's the truth of the matter. Like Mecca's not gonna be there for like what, 2 weeks, something like that.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks. Sav was absent this week, right? I won't be able to show for a couple weeks. So you can that's why we built the roster the way that we did.
Mhm.
But if it was full strength, probably go Colossal and Iron. Yeah, that's just what I would go. If we were gonna build our strongest roster, we'd have Iron play med. But he wants to play Marine this year, which is fine. He's doing awesome at it. But I think if we're building our strongest roster, then Iron goes Marine or Medic, sorry, and then you put probably me and Jeff in just because of chemistry.
Yeah, I was going to say Jeff and Iron as well, but I think because there's going to be so many different lineups, it does depend. But just based on the question, who Marines there, if all 4 of those show and we show the rest of our lineup, I think it's probably Jeff and Iron.
Bowen, any disagreement?
No, I don't think so. Yosh gave me 6 fantasy points this past weekend, so I'm mad at him.
Yeah.
So
you're
You fucked yourself because of the map you picked.
for the
Everyone knows I've been telling everybody who was listening there's a horrible map. Obviously, there's a reason why I think this because I don't play well on that fucking map.
final one for the 5th and 6th Marine spots on Crusaders. Caligstar, Smack Rock, -0, Metal.
I think Metal should be medding for them. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say Negi and Smack Rock. No, I'm going to say Negi and Caligstar.
I'm gonna go Smack Rock and Calig. I think you put Negi in the yellow vest and Metal in the yellow vest.
Yeah, actually, same exact thing as Joe's. Smack and Cali, put metal in med.
All right. I thought those were kind of fun. Fun to just play around and think about. Next question I had was the great Chompy had his first ever USL experience this past weekend against Cats and looked like he's going to be a likely candidate for Cave Beast this season. Is LMG the right class for Chompy, and what player does he most remind you of?
That was me chomping. That's I love chomping. Right? I mean, everybody knows I'm a choppy fanboy, just like I'm a Yabi fanboy, right? I think LMG is the best class for him. On Nexus, he needs to put kills up, and we saw what he could do this weekend. He has that burst to be able to do it up close mouse aim, which is very, very insane. He reminds me of a young, unpolished Nos keeper when he was with AYB. I might be coming mid-season to scoop him up. Bowen. But you all notice if you think about benching Choppy again, I'm gonna swoop in.
I have a
Unlocking
question
rosters
almost
now.
exactly on that point here in just a second, but we'll keep going. Go ahead, Bowen or anybody else want to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trumpies should be on LMG. I think he's probably a good Marine too, and once he learns the law, he's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty sure he's a Mouser, so um, I would keep him on LMG, and I do agree with the NOS comps. You see this guy kind of relatively unknown, kind of known in other zones, come in and have an instant impact and already be good. So once you teach him the mental of the game, he's just gonna, ascend to the top. Might take him a few seasons, but yeah, I would keep him on LMG. It's just LMG is so OP that I think it's a good idea to keep him on there.
Yeah, and I think LMG translates well from CTF, just in general. I mean, there's a lot of similarities for the class, I feel. It seems like Thiz did really well on it last season, so it's just the way they mouse aim and the way they get in close, it's just deadly. So yeah, I mean, Chompy's a monster.
I'm going to invoke a crazy take here. You ready? This is going to be for Mecca and Tactical. Crazy take
Bayless.
incoming.
Bayless.
Are you
Skip
prepared?
Bayless.
Okay, Skip Bayless incoming. Here it is. I played with Dr. Gijo. I think that he reminds me a lot of Gijo in terms of he starts shooting when they are so far out. He is probably the first person to unload. In terms of he sees the distance and the vision, and immediately his shots are out before anybody else's, and it's on point every time. That's an impressive thing. I was just saying earlier today, he's hitting 22 out of 30 bullets on a clip. Like, it's incredible, dude. For a guy who has not played before, it makes you wonder what he's going to look like in 3 to 4 seasons. I really do, if he keeps at the trajectory he's going on right now. So that's my crazy take. I'm not saying he is Dr. Gijo. I'm just saying that he has some shades particularly the way he shoots. Look at the way he kind of like the way he moves and just like the complete zealous. He's just very offensive, and it reminds me a lot of Gijo. All right, let's go to actually, I think Yosh, do you have a question for the mailbag?
Yeah, I have one that was sent in to me. With Kaga deciding not to show for Crusaders, where does Bax go from here?
Wah, wah. I mean, I still think they can be really good without Kaga, but that is man, is that a drop in terms of your top shooter. It'd be really nice if Torch would show up. It'd be really nice because he could really fill that gap. But I mean, Octa's not going to be able to do 17-4 every game. He's just not. I mean, I think he's a good player too, but he's just not going to be able to do that. So you wonder where you get your kills from. I do want to praise Universal Soldier 2K. What a damn good weekend he had. That's he's one of those players that just just out of the blue he'll put up an incredible night. And that's exactly what he did in week 1. Both games played very well. And they're gonna need Uni to do that regularly if they're gonna be able to make up that kill deficit if Kaga's not present.
I don't think they can count on that though. I mean, Uni is one of the more inconsistent players in USL. He'll have a good game, and the next game he'll go, 1-15 or something. So I think if I was Bax, what I would be doing is I would be working the trade markets, trying to sneak somebody off New World Order or SS or even
DGX.
DX, somebody. Yeah, I mean, all those squads have excess starters. So if I were him, I would be looking at maybe go into CTF and look for a really good CTF player, scour the free agent market, because they're going to need more killers in that. Like, I don't think they can start the people they did against Suicide Squad if they're not on Kali on KR and still have a chance at any of the top 4 squads above them.
Anybody else on that question or next one?
No, that's pretty
Okay.
accurate. How about you?
Yami Kenichi struggled with being in the correct position in the Cats game against New World Order. For players who are used to a more aggressive playstyle carrying over from CTF, what are your tips and tricks for learning better positioning quickly in USL?
Oof.
Watching the
rough.
videos,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Spectate during the games that you're not in. Spectate one of the better Marines and kind of see what they're doing. Especially if you can do it before a match. I think Ernie will probably talk to him on the side and watch the video with him, or at least try to get him to watch the video just to kind of see where he messed up and what he can do in the future. But yeah, I think watch videos, specking good players, something like that. Do some review some tapes.
Yeah, I think KR is just a different map in the fact that it takes a little bit to learn how to position on that map, especially in a slow-paced game, which is something we don't normally see in just practice. Right? It's a very, very different atmosphere, and I think it's just an experience thing that you kind of got to go through it. Versus top tier teams, I think Yami will struggle a little bit by just being not in position that he needs to be in. But you don't want him to go to reverse of that, which is he's both so far behind everybody else in the back that he can't be in position because then there is no position. So I think it's just a balancing act that, he's gonna have to take his lumps this season and not get too down on himself if he plays bad and just go from there.
I think
I mean,
he's
he's
oh,
improved
go
a
ahead.
lot since. Sorry, yeah, he's improved a lot since NYPD joining them. He's gotten used to the game a bit more, and I mean, as you guys mentioned, it's just experience. He'll figure it out. I think he'll be a decent player. So
I think he just needs to look and pay attention to those bottleneck chokes. When you,
Yeah.
I mean, he just always steps in front of the choke rather than staying in it or behind it. And when he gets killed when he's trying to retreat back through it. I think if he was just paying attention to just look at the formation of the rocks or the area when you're standing and be on the right side of it. I think you're exactly right. Tactical just needs to watch some game tape with him and point out where to stand in terms of the relation to the bottleneck choke. And I think you're exactly right as well, Mecca, that he could learn a whole lot by just looking at some of the better Marines and just studying the way they move. You can position yourself on the far south, far north, get a little cheating, but Yami was in the middle almost every time when he died. He was right in the middle, and that is just the worst place to be for 3 or 4 streams coming right at you, and you have nowhere to go. So, let's see here. Did Nexus play that bad, or did Crusaders just outperform what the so-called experts projected they would do?
Both. I don't think Nexus played. I've seen Nexus play worse for sure. So I don't think this is Nexus's worst game. I do think Crusaders, like I said earlier, I think Oct had the best USL game he'll ever have in his life. So I don't think you can expect that every game. But I do think that Crusaders play well. I don't want to take anything away from that. They definitely did play well.
Yeah, I mean they played very, very well. I still had them winning that game without Kaga. So, they kind of let me down there, but I think everything was stacked in their favor. KR Kali, it's an equalizer. That map sucks. Thank you all for who voted it in.
I voted EC.
Guys, let
As did I.
me do something different. Thanks to Eric here, I got a little bit of breaking news.
Oh.
Suicide Squad has recruited CC to come and play medic for them. So let me revisit this question we asked earlier. For the medic team on Suicide Squad, would you take Flash, Victim, Mugen, Fresh, Fizz, or CC?
What I would say is this is what happens when you fuck with ROM. They recruit people, and then they bench you, and then CC plays medic. So I think it's got to be CC Victim. I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to piss Apollo off having his buddies benched, but I don't see how you play anybody but CC and Victim if they both show.
Now Pister has a real interesting, or not Pister, sorry. SV has an interesting dilemma that he's gonna have to deal with, right?
He just recruited himself into this dilemma.
Yeah, I mean you gotta play unless CC's gonna play Marine, right?
Maybe that's over.
Well, Flash and Fresh can both play Marine, so I mean, they're not exactly flush in the Marine category either.
Yeah, I mean they could shore it up that way. That would work.
I think the main thing is here we need to allow trades in USL.
I mean, technically, yeah, but a trade requires both parties to want to go.
Yeah, no.
Right? It's the if you were like, Yosh, I'm going to trade you to X team for Y player, I'd be like, no, I just don't want to play for them.
It sounds like everybody agrees it's Victim and CC. Anybody disagree with that take?
Yeah.
No.
Me too. That's a huge news, Eric. Thanks for breaking it. Next question is: I've noticed a pattern that higher tier squads keep Yosh is for you. Higher tier squads keep picking off talented players from lower tier squads and then use them just to SB and then bench them on Sundays. Is that something that hurts or helps the league? It seems to make sense that the player from the lower tier squad wants out, but I wonder if targeted recruitment actually hurts the league more than it helps. As an outsider, it seems like it goes against the competitive spirit and sportsmanship by decreasing the overall competitiveness of the league.
Okay, so I'll take this pretty easily. I think it helps, and the reason why I say that is there's only so much that you know what you don't know, right? You can't learn what you don't know. It sounds stupid, but like when you're on a low tier team, you're gonna learn some things, but you won't learn how to play the game at a decent level. If you're getting rolled every week by 50, what are you really learning? How to get creamed, which I think is an important skill. I think everybody should have to go through that. But at a certain point, you're just not going to learn anything anymore. And you need to take that step up to kind of see what it is that other people are doing that you're not doing. And then, when they're with you for a couple seasons, look what happens. Stoink's a pretty good example of that. He was with us for a couple seasons. Now he's with Nexus doing fine. Pister, another example of that, was with us for multiple seasons. Now he's, running a squad. Right? I think these guys are taking what they learned from us and then going, and we're kind of at this point training our own competition, as shitty as that sounds.
No, I think that's ideal in a league that you want to foster to grow and to increase competitiveness. And I agree with what you're saying. Take them under your wing, grow that potential, have it blossom into a solid player, and then release them back into the wild, so to speak.
Yeah, because at a certain point, they're going to become good enough where they think they've learned everything. They're going to be like, you know what? Let me go test myself. Right?
So is that the story behind Nosekeeper the NT? Is that what's going on there? He's just letting his wings, sprout and fly.
So the back in the day, we're going way back. Nose was on a team with AYB, and I ended up crushing AYB's spirit. Right? Crushed it. Well, Sav actually crushed his spirit by telling him, "Hey, if you camp versus these guys in South Rocks, you could beat them." He built him up so much that when they got rolled by 100, it crushed and defeated him. Right?
So that's the key.
Great leader, and Yosh faded him.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
You just crush their spirit. Okay.
Well, so that's what happened to AYB because Sav pumped him up, and everybody on Cobra Kai was like, "Yeah, these guys are beatable. They can't push South Rocks. This and that." And then we just rolled them over. And then AYB ended up being sad, blaming me for it. Right? When his own captain agreed to the terms and parameters set in the match because we went 10s. And then ended up quitting the game for it. Right? Does that suck? Yes. Because I think AYB had a lot of talent. But building up people too fast, too soon is a very dangerous thing too, because expectations could crush you.
Moral of the story is you're shameless and you'll pick anybody off from anywhere. Is that kind of
100%? Like if I think they can fill a roster spot and do well with us, like Posty this season, I think Posty's going to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he already got an MVP.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you guys call him last night? The human ammo dump? Is that what...
Look, he played a pivotal role in that game.
That human ammo dump.
I'll tell you the story on that right now. We were in the game. I had like 10, 15 bullets left. My team specs me, right? Without notice, I was upset and angry about it. Posty comes in and then steals MVP from me.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, by the way.
Well deserved.
All right.
I do think those players do need to be on good squads first, because it's like think of it like Bryce Young, who got benched today for the Panthers. When you have a young up and coming like talent coming through, and you end up on a team like the fucking Panthers, you suck. Like there's no good to learn from that.
Yeah. But you take your licks initially, right? Like that's part of it.
Yeah.
You take your licks first season. You trade up to a better squad the season after that. But as a bench player, then you migrate out and go play as a starter somewhere for a mid-tier squad, and then maybe you come back like Nosekeeper in the very end and join the squad and be a starter on one of the best squads. Like that's
Oh,
the goal,
That's
right?
assuming though you're not already disenfranchised from playing on a shit squad.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
I don't think I'm sorry. I'm not talking about Nexus in this situation. I don't think Nexus is in that situation. Even if you guys end up last place, you guys have a good culture, so I would agree with that in that case. But if you ended up on like Hellcats, like look at like Doris Burke or something, like guy had a pretty big brain, drawn up MS Paint plays, ends up with toxic backs, quits the league. You know what I mean? Like
That's what happens. It's a
but
tale
then
as
you have
old as
Chompy
time.
and
Tale as old
you
as
have
time.
Chompy end up up Nexus. Yeah, he's James Harden. You know, he kind of a
If you
third fourth
don't,
player on
I
Nexus,
see.
and then he gets his own team.
If you don't steal him, you never know. He might be James
Right.
Harden, and we just never mind that ore.
Right.
Rob,
Or
shut
he
up.
might be Jordan. He might be Jordan Poole if you guys watch NBA.
All right. Well, now that the flustered bromance between Oct and Bax has blossomed into Boctavian, just how good is this duo together? Has there ever been a more dynamic duo at odds with each other than these two? Who will get banned next first? And with the map changes, will we see a fall off in the lethality of either one of them? And if so, who's going to suck more?
I prefer Brock, by the way. But Octavian's fine, I guess. I think Oct falls off more. One, who knows if he finishes out the season? I guess you could say that about Bax too, but I just don't think because Bax can play LMG, you know, if he can't play sniper on a map. But like, what can Oct play if he's not ripping? He goes demo. Depending on the map, demo and ripper suck on some maps. So and Oct can't really play Marine. Like you maybe slide him in as medic or something. So I think the answer is probably Oct falls off more.
Yeah. I actually think Oct can play Marine. I just don't think he wants to. I think playing demo is, map dependent. Ripper's definitely map dependent. He's a serviceable med. Like a couple seasons ago, we thought about picking Octavian up, and as a filler med for us.
Mhm.
Right. The only reason
Last
that
season, I
didn't.
think.
No, this was a couple seasons ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the reason why we didn't go forward with that is because he wanted to start every game. What? Get out of here with that. Crazy. You'll get some games in like everybody does, like on our roster. Like that's just what it is. Like everybody plays. So, I think the steeper fall off is probably going to be Octavian.
Bowen,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree with that. I mean, Oct isn't going to play med unless it has Biodart.
Please.
He hasn't played Marine in so long. I don't know that he can. Maybe he can. I haven't seen it. Last time I think he played, I wasn't well. But so I mean, yeah, kind of same concept. If you can't play Ripper, you can't play demo. Then what's he play on? Not on a KR map. That tandem doesn't work quite as well. Maybe it works on OD, but we'll see. I guess week 3. But yeah.
For all the reasons you guys have elucidated, I think that Bax has more tools in the toolbox. I think that he's a very solid Marine, very solid LMG, and the sniper. I just think he can do a lot of different things. So I think probably the first one to fall off would be Oct, which is kind of amazing considering the weekend he just had to all of us being agreeing on that. But yeah, I do think that they have done very well so far in week 1. I'm interested to see what the rest of the season does for them. They're an amazing duo together, and they do work in tandem for guys that are constantly squabbling, like the Fairly Odd Couple. It's very interesting dynamic that they've got going on over there. But I'm here for it as long as they're not getting banned. So, guys,
Which
I want
know that Oct's gonna be able to avoid, honestly. So
this is my final
Yeah.
question for the mailbag. So I want individual call outs from you. Okay. Who is the best non-skirmish player currently in Infantry who has absolutely no business not being a part of this awesome league experience right now?
Non-skirmish as in has never played skirmish?
Or
doesn't
is not
currently play
right now?
skirmish? Hearthball, for sure.
There'd be 2 people. Well, yeah, 2 people for me, Angelus and Hearthful.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Hearth. Hearth was good before, so
I asked him if he wanted a med. He said, I'll get back to you, and then he never got back to me.
I enjoyed the broadcast with Hearthbull. Me and Bowen popped in there for the championship, and I really enjoyed. You guys were there a little after us. I really enjoyed talking to him. He was a nice guy. I'd actually never really talked to him before. But I also think two players in particular I want to call out are Albert. Dude, you're over there in CTF. What are you doing? Come on back. Come on home. And then second would be ZMN. You're going to come in here and tell us that you want all of these. I did not know he was the villain that he is over there in CTF. I need more villains. I need more villains in USL. We need diversity of villainship. And Bax and Ock can't have all of it. They need help. Mountain's trying to squeak in there this season. He's trying to get his name in the hat. But we need ZMN also to come swinging in on the ropes and just say, I'm here. And you know, I'm here for it, ZMN. We're ready for you and ready to pull you into this USL community the moment you say you're ready. Does anybody have any? I have that announcement that Tactical mentioned that Bowen brought up. I'll bring that up here again in a second. But does anybody have anything else they want to say for this episode of USL Live?
Nope.
Okay. Well, as mentioned earlier, stop sending the banners. That's the announcement Tactical wanted me to give. If we keep sending banners during matches, particularly, really any time, but definitely during matches, we'll just strip that privilege away. Everybody will lose it. You'll ruin it for everybody. That would suck. Please don't do that. And be adults, man. Be a grown up. Let's see here. USL Week 2 games are coming this Sunday, September 22nd from 8:45 to 11:45 p.m. Eastern. USL Live was lucky to have two relatively brand new announcers join us this week in Doc, a.k.a. Grump, and Colossal, both of whom I thought did an absolute fantastic job. But I do want to encourage people to participate more in this league. Give back to it in some way, whether it's a big-time commitment like a referee or a team captain, or something smaller like joining us on USL Live or writing up a post like Slob just did on USLZone.com. We're trying to build something more fun for everyone here. And when everyone contributes, I think we get more out of the experience. Guys, that'll do it for USL Live in the Season 24 Week 2 preview. You can play Infantry for free. Download the game right now on Steam. Just type Free Infantry in the search bar or visit freeinfantry.com. If you're interested in league play, visit USLZone.com. Sign up on the site where you can sign up as a free agent. You can look at rosters, view schedules, also talk on the forums there. Be sure to check out all our available videos on the Infantry Online YouTube page. Built and maintained by military police, feel free to relive the nostalgia anytime you want by going back to watch past play from previous seasons. I'd also like to thank my co-hosts for the show today. That'd be Mecca, Yosh, and Bowen. Thank you to our executive producer, Military Police. This has been Romulocks, and you've been listening to USL Live.